What food does your mom make better than anybody who has ever existed in the history of the universe? Someone should launch a show called Mom Food Showdown. Or Gram Nani Vovo Showdown. But they'd have to bring their own pans because that's where the magic happens. Or Iron Grandma. Sticky toffee pudding. Could be something to do with the full pound of butter she uses, but who can say? Ah yes, the secret ingredient is always butter. And love, sure, but also butter. A chef's joke goes, for my first Michelin star I got up early for years, worked hard, came up with the most inventive recipes and dishes, and in short did everything right. For my second one I used more butter. My mom makes the best carrot cake in the universe. Hands down. It's her own recipe, hybridized from 2 different recipes she had long ago. It's like no other carrot cake I've ever had. I have it every year for my birthday. She has even shipped it to me unassembled, icing in a jar, cake layers wrapped in wax paper and foil, when I lived far away. I estimate I've eaten this cake at least 50-60 times in my 43 years on the planet. Sometimes we make it for her birthday too, it's so good. Editing to add that she cooked and baked a ton all throughout my childhood, and still does a fair amount. Many other things she makes are great too. Her meatloaf and her chicken and dumplings are on point. Pumpkin pie is amazeballs, but if I had to pick one stellar winner it is the cake of carrots. Edit, okay you filthy animals, the hunger for this recipe is real and I'm here for it. Let's say that anybody commenting up until 6:15 p.m. ET I will tag when I post the recipe on r/old_recipes. Otherwise, I will also update this post with a link and the stragglers can get there that way. Let there be cake. Son of Edit, the recipe is posted. Well, mostly posted. I am now going to type out the recipe in the comments. The handwritten cards my mom wrote out for me are in the photos, but they're a bit hard to read, and then tackle tagging people. But here it is, hit me up and let me know how it turns out if you try it. And I'm happy to help any novice bakers with questions, no matter how basic. Don't be intimidated, as some relative of mine said, if it's got good stuff in it, it's got to be good. Revenge of the Edit, there are still some commenters and some who PM'd me who I haven't sent the link to yet. I love you all. But I am now very tired and am going to bed. We'll holla back tomorrow yo. Web link. Reddit link. Now I want carrot cake, but I know nothing I can bake will come close, smiley face. I married into a Ukrainian family and my mother-in-law and wife make potato/cheese pierogies for Christmas and Thanksgiving each year from scratch and there's nothing like them. You think you like pierogies and then you have a homemade one and suddenly you can hear colors. If you want a pierogi/varaniki go to a Ukrainian church they make them on Saturday. It also supports the church and charity Little Old Babushka make them by hand. Of course this is the most karma I ever got. R.I.P. Baba Mama and my father, Greek Baba. Her church is in Bloomingdale, Illinois, St. Andrew Orthodox Church. They have a memorial for the Holodomor there and some of the people making the pierogies survived this along with World War II. Please go there if you are close and want good pierogi or borscht or blintzes or cabbage rolls. They sell them on Saturday and I think after church on Sunday. I don't know how different a Ukrainian and a Polish pierogi may be, but the Catholic church my grandmother goes to has a crack team of very loud Polish grandparents who make the most amazing pierogis I've ever had. Gumbo. My mom made the absolute best gumbo and I've spent the last 10 years trying to get it right because she never wrote down the recipe for me before she died despite me practically begging her to do so. God, I miss her, and her gumbo. My great-grandma was a renowned candy maker and wouldn't write down any of her recipes either. My recipes will die with me. I don't understand why people do that. Let us remember you and carry on your legacy. Everybody loves your candy. Thanks, I'll take it to my effing grave. I hate that this made me laugh. Something about this level of petty makes me smile. So my great-grandmother never wrote down her recipes either and her big thing was always banana nut bread. It's a staple in my family. Like, every holiday, there's at least a half a dozen loaves laying around to get munched on. Mima did end up writing her banana bread recipe down before she passed and gave a copy to her daughter and Dill and each of her granddaughters. But she wrote a different version for each person. Which okay, weird, but she was old and never measured anything and just eyeballed it. So. Alright. The kicker is she told each person she gave a recipe to that. Now, I gave you the real one because you were always my favorite. Don't tell anyone else. And then she died and all the granddaughters compared notes on their recipes one Christmas and figured out she told them all the same thing about being the favorite, and we still don't know which recipe is the real one or if there even is a real one or which one is closest. We still don't know which recipe is the real one or if there even is a real one or which one is closest. The obvious solution here is a banana nut bread bake-off and taste testing party. When it's safe to finally get together, each sister should bring a loaf with them and everyone can debate which is closest to the original or what details Mima may have omitted. Right? I don't get it. In my mom's case, it was more that she never really used a recipe, so I think she just kept forgetting to write it down whenever she would make it. My last couple batches were getting really close though. I hope you get it right one day. My mom can make the single best roast potatoes I've ever had. That's nice, but I'm still a little sad that you've clearly never had my mom's roast potatoes. That's okay. Oh man, I feel so bad for both of you because neither of you have had my mom's roasties. I'm sorry for you. Well, I'm sorry you guys think you have tasted the best roasties when my mom cooks them the best. Looks like we'll need to have a mom's battle royale. The moms need giant mechs with chain guns. Potato cannons. Aimed at my mouth. Banana bread. I use the same recipe and it just isn't the same. Miss you, Mum. Edit. Wow. Thanks for all the rewards, guys. Totally unexpected for such a simple comment. Raising a glass to all the mums, cocktail glass. Maybe next time scoop your flour into the measuring cups and lightly level with the spoon by scraping, not packing down. If you scoop out of the bag you may be adding too much because it packs it down in there. Just a thought. There are some things moms do that aren't in the recipe that make a big difference, lol. I've sometimes found the opposite to be true with old recipes. I'm measuring to be careful not to pack the flour in the measuring cups, but the person who wrote the recipe just scooped it up straight from the container and as a result had way more flour. If you do find the right amount of flour, weigh it in record so you don't have to mess around with guessing in future. My aunt did this with her mom's recipes. They measured out what a pinch was, what a bit was, and had custom measuring cups made. Similarly, my partner's grandmother's recipes referred to the specific measuring implement she owned, for example, 2 blue cups of X. I have one with 50 cents worth of good meat. Bake until done shows up a lot in my family. Leche flan. Even the stuff from the local Filipino bakery is spongy scrambled eggs compared to my mom's. Thick, smooth custard. No bubbles. Her secret ingredient is the tiniest splash of lemon extract. Sometimes she'll put a layer of flan on top of cassava cake, shredded cassava cooked with macapino coconut. Lord, so good. My mother is from the Philippines. Her adobo is something magical and out of this world. When my wife is mad at me, she says the only reason she married into the family was so that she could eat my mom's adobo. Edit. I somehow forgot to mention her lumpia. Oh Lord, her lumpia is something I could eat several times my own body weight in. Edit 2. It's starting to sound like we need to have a Reddit-wide Filipino cook-off as soon as the pandemic ends. That way we can all win. Edit 3. I don't have her recipe so I cannot give it out. I think my mother is trying to use it to ensnare wives for my remaining unmarried brothers. After all, who could turn down an invitation for lumpia and chill? I understand. I'm considering marrying you just hearing about it. We all got that ex whose family we would have married if we could. You just took a different path. My mom's lumpia Shanghai is literally Filipino crack and no one can convince me otherwise. She has a few secret ingredients and no one else's recipe comes close. Another note, it's wild to me that Pinoy food isn't as widely popular in the States. I've made that argument before, but if Filipinos are the third fastest growing Asian group in the States, behind Chinese and Indian, why isn't Filipino restaurants as widely available, popular as say Thai restaurants? It's criminal to me since Pinoy food is so good too. Because the government of Thailand is actively pushing their food globally as a diplomatic endeavor. Web link. Finally, a form of propaganda I can get behind. Oh dude. I've had leche flan from the store, which is decent. And then I've had some made by Filipino moms/sisters. It's like night and day. The homemade stuff is on another level. Gestures solemnly to my username. Hey, my more appropriately named sibling. What flavor is this? It's like huckleberry, but made with hate instead of love. This made me happy and sad. That made me solemn. Not my mom, but my grandma makes the best fried chicken ever. I won't eat any other fried chicken except for hers because all the others just disappoint me. Edit, I will ask my grandma for her fried chicken recipe and share it with everyone once I've gotten it. Edit 2, I got the recipe. You're going to take your chicken, wash it and dry it, then cover it in a flour mixture of salt, fresh ground pepper, and paprika, shake off the excess. Then you're going to beat some eggs really well. This is important. Dip the chicken into the egg, and then back into the flour mixture, shake off excess. Heat cooking oil, Crisco, on medium and add the chicken. You're going to turn the chicken every few minutes until it's golden brown. I recommend putting the finished chicken on a plate with paper towels to allow the excess oil to absorb before eating. I hope y'all like it. I deeply miss my grandma's fried chicken. Just flour, seasoning, chicken, and a cast iron skillet, but so good. Exactly, it's so simple but it's amazing. My mom makes hands down the absolute best lasagna ever, and she can almost perfectly recreate the rice, noodles, and steak from hibachi restaurants. Yo, I'm going to need your mom's recipe for that hibachi. Thanks. Can I have her phone number, then? I got you. She's on my speed dial. PM me. For fried rice, find. It's available at every Asian grocery store. It helps. Web link. Get a wok and a gas stove, then just copy what you've seen. Add a huge blob of butter to the veggies and protein, chop things up real fine, etc. Only part you got to figure out for yourself is what you want your teriyaki sauce to be, though the basis is usually soy sauce, oyster sauce, brown sugar, and some MSG. Edit, because people keep telling me how to make teriyaki sauce correctly, here is the website I used to find super simple versions of various Asian or Asian-inspired sauces to build from. Web link. I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but it's actually my mom that makes the best lasagna. I'm sure it's really hard to hear this, but it's best you understand the truth now, then continue living a lie. My mom's lasagna was the best too. She would make homemade spaghetti sauce, from fresh tomatoes, plus cans of tomato paste, then cook the meatballs in the sauce, scooping the grease off the top over the course of the day. She would also parboil Italian sausage. When the sausage and meatballs were cooked, she would slice them into half-inch pieces. Then she would make the lasagna with alternating layers of sausage, meatballs and ricotta cheese. All of us kids always requested this for our birthday dinner. My mom used to make a 10 lasagna, 5 meats, 5 cheeses and homemade sauce. She even had to buy a special deep dish pan to make it. I'd need a special deep dish casket after eating that my whole life. For a bit I thought these two were referring to the same dish and was wondering what kind of lasagna has rice, noodles, and steak in it? That sounds like a challenge, sir, as I decree my mother makes a better lasagna than your mother. I decree that why your shoes raggedy. That, good sir, is an insult of the highest degree. My shoes have never been raggedy. I decree that your chestnut is not sexy. That, my kind sir, is completely irrational. My chestnut indeed is sexy, and always will be. I decree that your fire blast is weak. Still strong enough to roast your unsexy chestnut. Literally everything. Even toast. I think it's the love. Love really does make a difference in cooking. When my mom cooks, I really can taste the disdain and resentment. Funny thing, whenever your mom cooks for me, it's nothing but love and admiration. My mother is in her 80s and is still the best cook to ever live. No Michelin-starred restaurant can compare because they just don't love me, despite my repeated pleading for them to. I used to have water beside my bed and I would ask her to make it because I thought it tasted better than when I got it. This is effing adorable. My mom's South Korean. She makes a Korean oxtail soup called shollongtang. It's my favorite meal and I'd want it as my last meal if I had to pick. Edit. Honorable mention. Hae Janguk or hangover soup is another favorite. Highly recommended. Edit again. For those who want the recipe, my mom never wrote it down, but this one uses the same method as her and tastes the same. Web link. My mom is also Korean and we grew up in America and she made a real effort to cook both types of food. For Thanksgiving we'll sometimes have just an insane mishmash of foods we like with no rhyme or reason. Bulgogi and japchae with mashed potatoes and stuffing. My kind of Thanksgiving. Username checks out. Sounds like my Thanksgiving but Filipino. Got some lumpia, pancit, puto, cassava cake and other various Filipino food right there next to various smoked meats and mashed potatoes etc. Mixing cultures is truly the best. My parents are Sudanese, and we do the same thing for Thanksgiving. Sudanese food is mainly different types meat stews that are really flavorful and yummy. Pairs well to me. That's just Thanksgiving. Kimchi is a particularly great accompaniment to ham and turkey. Good God, that is some dedication. Making the stock for that is no joke. I like Korean soups but I detest rice cake soup. Still, I will eat it when visiting my parents for New Year. My mom makes it from scratch overnight and has a spread fit for a magazine in the morning. That's the only time I will eat that soup. Wimdukguk is the best. Holy crap, my Korean mom also makes amazing sulungtang too. Her kimchi is also the absolute bomb. It's all in the. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.